Just announced. Princess Leonor Lavish Denmark ceremony becomes the talk of Europe. It started like any other royal announcement. A date. A place. A simple confirmation of something the world had long suspected. But what unfolded in Copenhagen this year has gone far beyond a royal wedding. It has become the heartbeat of Europe, a symbol of love, diplomacy, and history rewritten before our eyes. Spain's young crown princess, Leonor of Asturias, once the quiet symbol of duty and elegance, has now become the most talked about royal in the world. And her lavish Denmark ceremony has done what no other royal event has achieved in years: it has united nations, captured hearts, and transformed the very image of modern monarchy. But how did a single royal event become the emotional center of an entire continent? How did a love story between a Spanish princess and a Danish prince turn into the most powerful moment of 2025? Let's step inside the moment that has left Europe speechless. The world knew it would be grand. But no one expected this. From the moment Princess Leonor stepped out of her royal carriage, the streets of Copenhagen became a sea of flags, flashlights, and tears. Crowds from Denmark, Spain, and beyond had gathered for days, camping outside the palace just to catch a glimpse of her. And when she appeared, radiant, poised, and visibly emotional, time seemed to stand still. Her gown shimmered under the soft northern light, designed by Spain's top couturier, inspired by the lace patterns of Queen Letitia's wedding dress, and hand-embroidered in Denmark's royal atelier. Every thread was a whisper of heritage and unity. The moment the cameras caught her stepping onto the cathedral steps, social media erupted. Within minutes, Leonor was trending worldwide. But behind the beauty, there was something deeper, something real. Because this ceremony wasn't just another royal union. It was a declaration of who Leonor had become. For years, the world watched her grow from a shy child beside her parents, King Felipe and Queen Letizia, into a confident young woman carrying the weight of a nation's future. And now, as she stood before the altar in Denmark, not as a girl of privilege, but as a woman of purpose, the world saw a new chapter of Spain's royal story unfold. King Felipe's eyes glistened as he watched his daughter walk down the aisle. Queen Letizia, known for her composure, was visibly moved, her hand clutching a lace handkerchief, the same one she carried at her own wedding 2 decades earlier. It wasn't just a mother watching her daughter marry. It was a queen watching her legacy pass into history. As Leonor reached the altar, Crown Prince Christian of Denmark turned, and in that moment, every camera, every spectator, every nation watching from afar, saw love, not duty. His expression said it all: this wasn't politics. This was personal. And that's what made this ceremony different from every royal wedding before it. This wasn't a display of crowns and protocol. It was human, warm, emotionally raw, a blend of Spanish soul and Danish tradition, unfolding live before a global audience. The ceremony began with a reading chosen by Leonor herself, a poem from Spain's royal archives about unity, love, and destiny. It wasn't a traditional choice, but it was deeply personal. She wanted the world to understand that her love story was also her promise, to bridge nations, cultures, and generations. As the choir sang softly in both Spanish and Danish, something shifted. The cameras zoomed in on the faces of the royal families, the foreign dignitaries, the guests, and even the journalists found themselves speechless. There was no scandal, no controversy, no spectacle. Just sincerity. When the vows were exchanged, Leonor's voice was steady but full of emotion. "I give you not only my hand," she said, "but my heart, my faith, and my duty to serve, beside you, with you, and for the people we love." It was simple, but it was everything. And then, the moment. The kiss that traveled across continents. Applause erupted inside the cathedral. Bells rang across Copenhagen. And in Madrid, thousands gathered in the Plaza de Oriente, waving Spanish and Danish flags, crying, cheering, and celebrating as if they were there. For the first time in years, Spain felt united, not by politics, but by pride. But what truly made this ceremony the talk of Europe wasn't just its beauty. It was its symbolism. Because in that moment, Leonor wasn't just marrying a prince, she was marrying her destiny. The union between Spain and Denmark was more than romantic, it was historic. A merging of royal bloodlines that once stood worlds apart. And for a Europe divided by change, this wedding became a reminder that tradition could still bring people together. The reception was held at Amalienburg Palace, and it was nothing short of cinematic. Crystal chandeliers, golden candelabras, and a banquet designed to blend Spanish flavor with Danish precision. The highlight: a toast from King Felipe, whose words silenced the hall. He said, "Today, my daughter begins a journey that connects the warmth of Spain with the heart of Denmark. May this love remind us that even in power, humanity must lead." Every guest stood in applause. Even those known for their diplomatic restraint had tears in their eyes. Throughout the night, stories began to spread. Guests whispered about Leonor's quiet leadership, how she had personally requested environmentally sustainable decorations, locally sourced flowers, and charitable donations in place of lavish gifts. It wasn't just a gesture. It was her signature, grace guided by conscience. Later, during the first dance, the room dimmed and the couple took to the floor. A Spanish guitarist played softly, accompanied by a Danish violinist. It was intimate, elegant, real, the kind of moment that doesn't need grandeur to be remembered, because it speaks directly to the heart. The next morning, Europe woke up to headlines. A new age of royalty. Leonor defines the modern monarchy. Love beyond borders. Every major publication, from the Times to El País, praised the ceremony for its authenticity. Even critics of royal tradition admitted they were moved. Because this wasn't a spectacle. It was sincerity wrapped in history. In Spain, the celebration continued for days. Streets filled with parades. Church bells rang across cities and towns. Children waved flags, and elderly citizens wept, remembering the last great royal wedding generations ago. This was not just the union of two people, it was a moment of national renewal. And as for Leonor, the young woman once seen as the quiet heir, she has now become Europe's new royal icon. Not for her crown, but for her character. Her choices, her composure, her grace, all signal something the world has been waiting for, a new kind of queen. One who leads with empathy, strength, and the courage to redefine what royalty means in a changing world. Today, Europe continues to talk about that day, not because it was lavish, not because it was perfect, but because it felt real. It felt like hope. And in a world that often forgets how to believe in fairy tales, Princess Leonor reminded us why we still do. Because when a princess stands at the altar, not as a figure of privilege, but as a symbol of love, honor, and unity, that's not just news. That's history. And now, the world watches, as Spain's princess steps forward into her next chapter. No longer just the daughter of a king, but the woman who made Europe believe again.